Welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Amita Rari, and coming up in today's newscast, National Security Minister Itamar Ben Gvir predicting the next Israeli conflict and introducing a new plan for police. Meantime, President Isaac Herzog on official visit to Brussels for International Holocaust Remembrance Day. And later, a star social media chef opening his newest restaurant franchise in Tel Aviv. Starting with some breaking news, an attempted stabbing attack on Route 55 near Kdumim as a suspected Palestinian terrorist armed with a knife tried to attack IDF soldiers at a military post. The assailant was neutralized, however, and no IDF injuries reported. And this leading now to one of the biggest stories today. The next war is coming, a strong message from Israel's National Security Minister on Tuesday. But Minister Ben Gvir and Police Commissioner Shabtai proposing a solution to the threat. ILTV's Aaron Porras reporting.
Warning that the next Guardian of the Walls war with Hamas in Gaza is at our doorstep, National Security Minister Itamar Ben Gvir and Police Commissioner Kobi Shabtai announcing new reforms to bolster the police. This as riots spreading internally across Israel during the 2021 conflict, threatening the peaceful duality between Jewish and Arab Israelis in many cities. Among the two reforms announced, raising officers' salaries from between 20 to 40%. Ben Gvir saying that starting patrol officers, detectives, and beginning investigators are only earning an average of 7,000 shekels per month, which is minimum wage.
השוטרים הגיבורים שלנו עובדים בלילות, בימים, בשבתות, בחגים. וחוזרים הביתה עם סכומים כל כך נמוכים. לא פלא שבשנת 2021 התפטרו 631 שוטרים, פי שניים מאשר 2020. בשנה האחרונה זינק מספר המתפטרים ל-1,030 שוטרים שהתפטרו מהמשטרה.
Additionally, the police will look to hire some 4,000 new recruits in the next 2 years, as some cities like Beersheva today are sporting just 7 patrol cars for the 210,000 member community.
והנה עוד סיפור ששמעתי. ניגש אליי תושב רהט שסיפר לי על המערב הפרוע בדרום, ועל כך ששמונה בנותיו לא ישנות בלילה מהיריות הבלתי פוסקות. ואלו לא רק תושבי הדרום. משה וקנין מקריית שמונה התעורר לפני כמה חודשים לבוקר שחור. המשאית שלו, המשאית שממנה הוא מתפרנס במשך שנים הוצתה, רק כי הוא לא הסכים להיכנע לכנופיית הפרוטקשן.
And second, the establishment of a National Guard to deal with sudden crises like the 2021 May riots. The National Guard force will be comprised of some 10,000 combat-ready volunteers, as well as a doubled border patrol and the expansion of special units' roles like that of the Yamam.
News is emerging of yesterday's surprise summit in Amman between Prime Minister Netanyahu and Jordan's King Abdallah. In an effort to calm tensions, Prime Minister Netanyahu made Jordan his first foreign visit after taking office. Relations with the Hashemite Kingdom were strained after National Security Minister Itamar Ben Gvir's visit to the Temple Mount. This was followed by an incident in which Jordan Ambassador Hassan Majali was briefly stopped by police officers to check paperwork prior to his entry to the Mount. Israel's ambassador to Jordan, Eitan Sirkis, was summoned after both incidents. Netanyahu reportedly promised Abdallah repeatedly that the status quo on Jerusalem holy site will be preserved, including the special status held by Jordan. Netanyahu acknowledged the place of the Jordanian appointment Islamic Waqf in administering the site. Under an arrangement that has prevailed for decades under Jordan's custodianship, Jews and other non-Muslims are permitted to visit the Temple Mount during certain hours, but may not pray there. Jewish religious nationalists, including members of the new governing coalition, regularly visit the site and demand equal prayer rights for Jews there. Abdallah also spoke with Netanyahu about his concern over rising violence in Judea and Samaria. Abdallah expressed support for the two-state solution and called for a resumption of peace talks stalled in 2014. The Prime Minister office issued a statement praising the long-standing friendship and partnership between Israel and the Hashemite Kingdom. And now with more on the threats to Israel from within and from without is founder and director of Palestinian Media Watch, Itamar Malkus. So Itamar, the new Minister of National Security, Itamar Ben Gvir, is calling for a strengthening of the police and the creation of a National Guard, saying that a war of ethnic unrest is imminent. First of all, is it likely that a war of ethnic unrest is imminent? And if so, what are the signs?
If there's a war of ethnic unrest, it'll probably be triggered first by the Palestinian Authority, as it was in the Shomer Chomot, the protection of the walls conflict. But the outside war began, and then Israeli Arabs joined. Now, the ingredients for the Palestinian Authority to want to start a conflict, unfortunately, are all there. Surprisingly, the most important ingredient is that the Palestinian Authority right now is very weak. Mahmoud Abbas is very unpopular. In the past, when he was very, very low in the polls, he initiated violence. When a leader is weak, very often they will initiate violence. So there's a fear that Mahmoud Abbas will try to initiate violence. He has been promoting, he and his media have been encouraging violence for the last few months. And we've been seeing almost a terror attack every day. Every single terrorist is praised by the Palestinian Authority, honored by the Palestinian Authority, rewarded by the Palestinian Authority. So we're in a period now that is very, very sensitive. Weak leader, people willing to do terror, it could escalate.
And we're also hearing that Ben Gvir wants to raise police salaries at some 4,000 officers and create a National Guard, actually. Who will likely make up these forces? How will those officers be deployed? And would it effectively address the threat of internal riots like those from May 2021 that we all remember from here?
Yes, it certainly is something that is important. One of the things that everybody saw during that period is that we didn't have enough police to protect all the Israelis or the Jewish Israelis who were living in mixed cities. There were riots in so many places at one time. Police had to go from one place to the next. Adding a large number of police to the force is important if we have riots. In addition, it's also important to get to the root of the problem. All the weapons in the Arab community, not to mention the incitement, the teachings that are happening in the mosques. There's a Palestinian, I wouldn't say Palestinian, there's an Israeli Arab who I've worked with in the past in events that we've had, who believes in peace with Israel. And he was telling me that the worst incitement that he ever heard were from the mosques, the Israeli Arab religious leaders in the mosques who were getting salary, by the way, from the Israeli government, and they themselves were inciting the terror. So we need people to investigate what's going on in the mosques. We need to know what's going on in the Israeli Arab schools, what the teachers are teaching them beyond what's written in the school books, and of course the community leaders. And let me just give you an example. We just recently had the release of Israeli Arab terrorist Karim Yunus and his cousin Meir Yunus. They live in the city of Arara, and the entire city seemed to be coming out to support them. Could be it was exaggerated by the press, but when you have an entire city glorifying two terrorists who were murderers, then you realize that the Israeli Arab population is more supportive of murders of Israelis than they are of Israelis. Again, we don't know how much this represents, but it is definitely a wake-up call for Israelis. Let's find out what Israeli Arabs are thinking. If the murders of Israelis are their heroes, then we're in trouble.
It definitely is. I really want to elaborate on that, but onto something a little different. Netanyahu made a surprise visit to meet Jordan's King Abdallah to end or at least calm the spat over Ben Gvir's visit to the Temple Mount. Is that matter behind us for now?
I think Jordanian leader is also weak, and he's going to, every time there's an opportunity, he's going to make a lot of noise. You have to realize also that amongst the Jordanian population, including the Jordanian parliament, peace with Israel is very much rejected. The people don't like it. The parliament doesn't like it. The only reason that the Jordanians really keep the peace is because it is helping to stabilize the king in his position. Also, they're getting a lot of water from Israel, which they need. Those are the benefits they get. But the people in Jordan nor the parliament support it. So he has to use every opportunity to publicly attack Israel, to publicly condemn Israel, to make his people think that he is anti-Israel as well. I'm sure privately he's made it clear to Netanyahu that he very much appreciates the help that Israel gives, but he's never going to say that publicly.
Itamar Marcus, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.